What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Snug Wrestling. My name is Edgar. I'm the host, and the Snug crew is here. Mr. Blood, Tommy, and Toxic. It is one of my favorite parts of the week. Every Wednesday before a big WWE PLE, we like to get together to do predictions, preview the cards, the matches, and try to figure out who's going to come out on top, who's going to win. Are we going to get new champions and the whole shebang? And this weekend is going to be the Night of Champions in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And we're going to be going over 6 matches. It is Night of Champions. 3 championships are being defended on this PLE. I'm really looking forward to this one, fellas. How y'all feeling today?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Real quick, I do want to just say before we get started, going through some stuff. I had a friend pass away yesterday. Seems like it's kind of happening every year at this point. Robert passed away last year, and in honor of my friend Richard, who passed away yesterday from stage 4 metastatic cancer, I'd like to say this episode is going to be dedicated to Richard. Richard Caparelli, really good guy. One of the main reasons I'm successful today. He never gave up on me, and he's the one who pushed me to go after my dreams and go after the acting and pursue, all the avenues I wanted to. And when I was homeless for a while in my early 20s, he took me in for many, many weeks and made sure I was good and, was always taking care of me and just a really good ray of light at everybody he knew, everybody he touched, everybody he, just was just gentle and kind to everybody. And to lose a light like that in the world, a little heartbreaking, but the light's not fully gone. It lives on in the people that love him and the people that miss him. And Richard, I love you. Thank you so much for everything. And this episode and all my predictions dedicating in positivity to you. Not going to mourn. I'm going to celebrate your life. That being said, I am excited for Night of Champions this weekend. We do have quite a bit to get into. I will say this is kind of akin to WrestleMania, where there's a part of me that feels there's quite a bit of unpredictability on this card while also being predictable, because though some of this stuff kind of feels like a foregone conclusion, right? Like the entire internet is speculating like, oh, Brock Lesnar's got to interfere in the in the Jay and Obafemi match, right? But like, what if he doesn't? Like what if Liv Morgan actually wins? Like then are we seeing a double champ match or a match to be double champion at SummerSlam? What if Sami actually does win? What if like we think, oh, they're not going to put it on Sami, and then they actually do? Like there's so much up in the air this weekend that it kind of feels good to have a PLE where we're not just either like, yeah, well, if they win, whatever, or it feels good to also say that like, there's stuff that could absolutely happen, but then there's stuff that they read the internet and they go, oh, that's what everybody thinks we're doing. That means what we're doing is working. And it's nothing that any of us are expecting. So it does leave a lot of excitement and anticipation in the air. And I am definitely ready to get into it. I feel like Night of Champions quite possibly could be in contention for best WWE PLE of the year when it's all said and done, but that will remain to be seen.
I'm doing good. On the same page as Blood. I feel like there's some unpredictability in the card, and then there's some that I feel like, oh, then this is like foregone conclusion. This is what I think is gonna happen. But I'm excited for it. It does kind of feel like a chore. Like 2 or 3 matches feel like a chore to get through, like a title match or something like you get what I'm saying. But I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to get into my predictions.
WWE has been cramming into us with PLEs like this because the last few months have had quite a bit of PLEs, if you're including Saturday night's main event and a few other things with that. Because holy crap, last month there was like 4 different things going on in 1 month. We were basically getting a big show week after week after week all of a sudden. So that is interesting. It's going to feel good to have a little bit of a break, I believe, until the 18th, I believe it is, with that Saturday night's main event, which will turn into a Sunday night main event because, yeah. But I'm in the same boat where I feel like there is some predictability here, and there are some where it's overall could go either way. One of which being Cody, Gunther, and Sami, especially with where they are currently located. That could go any way there.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted to point out when we get into the what I believe is going to be the main event, which is the Undisputed Triple Threat Championship match. But first, I got to address the elephant in the room. One of the big complaints that I've been hearing all fucking week about Night of Champions is, oh, Night of Champions, it's called Night of Champions, but not all matches are for championship belts. And I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. I think, Blood, you might have made a comment about that as well. Like, oh, we don't have the tag team titles on here, or the Women's United States Championship, or the Intercontinental Championship, or any of the other championships. And that's true. That's a good point. But I kind of have to make the argument that, well, 3 championship matches, that's like half the card, right? And also Liv Morgan who is also a champion, is also on the card. So, I mean, do you guys really think like this card needed more championships being defended to be good? Or how you guys feel about that?
I think that it's a little aggravating that WWE kind of takes the title of the PLE Night of Champions and goes, well, I mean, we never really said that every match would be for a championship. We just said it was the Night of Champions, meaning so long as we have champions on the show, then that's still not false advertising, like, which is annoying because when the original concept of Night of Champions was introduced, maybe what are we, around 14 years or so ago now, maybe 15, when the first Night of Champions PLE happened, Vince McMahon was very specific when he stated that Night of Champions was the PLE where for one night a year, every title would be on the line. That was the original idea of Night of Champions inception. That was the entire focal point of the PLE, that every match would be for a championship. Every title would be on the line. They even, for that pay-per-view, had introduced a new match type called the Championship Scramble, where there were multiple men in there, like a gauntlet style version of the match, but no one was eliminated. The champion would start, and then he could get pinned in the match, and whoever was the one who had the pinfall at that current point in the countdown clock was now, their hand was raised, and they were considered the current champion of that championship. But whoever was the last person to get a pinfall by the end of that match, that was the definitive champion when the match ended. So there was a lot of creativity done around this PLE originally. And then we come to PLEs in the last couple of years of Night of Champions, where we only had like 2 major title matches happening on the show. So it doesn't feel like Night of Champions is anymore what it was originally intended to be. And I can understand why people would find that frustrating. It does annoy me because I remember watching the first ever version of this PLE because that's kind of its thing. If you're going to have a PLE that's a gimmick about champions, it should be that special night where every title's on the line, because then not only do the fans get amazing championship matches and every match is important, but all the titles get a spotlight on them. So these women's mid-card titles that no one seems to give a fuck about matter. These tag team titles in the women's side that no one gives a fuck about matter. And everything feels like it has some kind of important spotlight on it. And I feel like we need to get some of that back.
How long ago do you think they stopped doing that? Every single match was for a title.
It's been somewhere near 7-8 years. I could be wrong, but we've strayed from it for a very long time. I mean, keep in mind, there was a point where Night of Champions was gone for a couple of years. They had gotten rid of it as a PLE for a stint there. And they brought it back in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, but it wasn't there for I want to say 3 or 4 years. It wasn't even used.
So here's my argument. This is the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Royal Rumble. Not every match on the Royal Rumble is a battle royal. Hell in a Cell, when that was a thing. Not every match on Hell in a Cell was in a Hell in a Cell. Money in the Bank. Not every match is a ladder match, and so on and so forth. I also think it's a little bit it's too repetitive if every single match is for some type of championship. I know it's called Night of Champions, but it's just sometimes there is such thing as too much of something. When do we ever see a PLE with nothing but tag team matches or nothing but triple threat matches? I think the only time where we saw a PLE with all women's matches was Evolve. So I think having 3 titles being defended, I don't see a problem with that like most people, I guess.
Here's my thing though, and my rebuttal to that is this, is that it's different, right? Because though yes, Night of Champions was originally a gimmick PLE. The gimmick was every title's on the line. Here's the problem. There's a difference between building an entire night around a concept and then building a gimmicked PLE around a match type. There's a difference. You can't go to Hell in a Cell never should have been its own PLE because it watered down what a Hell in a Cell match was. The blow off to a blood feud is what it was supposed to be. And over years of it just being used and being thrown in there and let's do different color cells now, it lost its shine. It lost its intensity. But then there are matches on PLE gimmicks like Elimination Chamber, where the world titles used to be on the line in those actual chambers. They've now changed that. Now it's it's like whoever wins the women's Elimination Chamber is the #1 contender, sloppy seconds for the title that the Royal Rumble winner didn't choose. And that's what it's now being done as. But OG Chambers, you had Undertaker in there with the World Heavyweight Championship. You had John Cena in there defending the WWE Championship. They used to be high stakes. Now they use them as stepping stones to their bigger PLEs they have bigger plans for. So I think it kind of just depends on what the PLE is being used for. But there is a big difference between a match type becoming a gimmick pay-per-view like TLC or Money in the Bank, which used to just be at WrestleMania, where it should still be, in my opinion. I don't think it needs its own PLE. And then there's the Royal Rumble, which is one of the biggest events in wrestling history, where it's kind of earned that spot to stay what it is because the winner goes on to the main event of WrestleMania, at least when they decide to remember that that's what the winner's supposed to do.
Fair enough. All right. I just wanted to bring that up really quick, but now it's time to get into the matches, the wrestling matches. And let's start off with the triple threat match. WWE Undisputed Championship on the line. Cody, the current champion, is going to be taking on Gunther and Sami Zayn. Now, everyone kind of predicted that this was going to turn out to be a triple threat match, and it did eventually. After we've been seeing these 3 have different types of situations with each other the past few weeks. They are in Saudi Arabia, which is like Sami Zayn's second hometown. He's loved over there. I mean, we kind of talked about this a while ago, the fact that WrestleMania is going to be over there in Saudi Arabia next year. And this is the time where they might pull the trigger on Sami Zayn, everything that's been happening with him. I was not expecting Night of Champions. We didn't know Night of Champions was going to be over there until not that long ago, I feel like. So this seems like it might be too soon for Sami Zayn to win it, or is it? What do you guys think?
I think the argument could be made for either or situation. You could argue that Sami goes on to have the big moment at WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia. And, he gets this, maybe he turns back babyface in that country on that night. because we know he's turning heel here, at least if not this weekend definitively heel, he's turning the very next week on SmackDown. I think we all feel that. Because right now he's still a face fighting the heel tendencies that are happening inside of him. But it's also a great argument that, hey, sometimes there isn't a right time. And they can go, we're in Saudi now. The fans are bored of Cody. Cody's, we can create better stories with Cody if he's chasing or do something with Cody, cool Cody off. We know that we're not going to put it on Gunther because he just had, 2 World Heavyweight Championship reigns. Gunther doesn't need it. And the fans don't want to see it. But also we know that the Saudi government, whenever WWE goes over there, they do have some say in creative, and they do kind of swing their dick on the table and go, hey, this is what we want to see when you're here. If you like the billions of dollars we give you, you might want to take what we want into consideration. And WWE a lot of times is folded. I mean, they yanked Shawn Michaels out of retirement and made the Brothers of Destruction face DX when they shouldn't have. They yanked Undertaker versus Goldberg. It happens where they make stuff happen that no one actually needs to see, but Saudi wants to. And so it's very possible that this weekend Saudi goes, yeah, we want Sami. And it's very possible that WWE goes, well, let's try something fresh and new and fuck it, let's pull the trigger. Let's shut all the people up because maybe we've got other bigger plans at WrestleMania 43 that don't involve Sami Zayn. And if we give it to them now here, that means we'll get to have our way with the main events and the world title pictures then because we already gave them what they wanted. And I could see WWE doing that as well. My prediction is that I think that they're going to put it on Sami. I think Sami's going to win this mainly because it would be the perfect place to do it for the ultimate pop. I have to wonder if I doubt this is going on last because the tournament finals are there. I have to imagine that OBJ is last. That's what I'm feeling. And that's probably when Brock's going to come out. But I definitely think Sami wins here. But I'd also like to throw in a second prediction for this same match. I got Sami winning. But there's a part of me that feels like we're getting a return here. And I don't know if it's Randy or Kevin Owens. But I have a weird feeling that there might be some kind of interference return happening this match. And Sami's going to capitalize and steal the win here.
Kevin Owens is scheduled to be at the Great American Bash this weekend.
Okay. Where's that being held?
I don't know, but it's in the United States.
Okay, so even if it's this weekend, is it Saturday, same day?
Sunday.
I
think it's being held at the PC.
Okay. Not a big enough. I don't think it's too big of a stretch to fly his ass over on a Saturday and then have his ass back over in the States on a Sunday. But also, I don't think it's too big of a stretch to say that what if they're advertising him for Sunday as a trick and a ploy to blindside you for Saturday.
Maybe, but I mean, with the time zones and the flight, we're talking about what, 13, 14-hour flight or something crazy like that.
Yes, but you're also forgetting that they're doing it in the middle of the afternoon on Saturday.
Right, which is nighttime
here.
No, so like the afternoon, they're doing it at nighttime over there, which is the afternoon here.
Are you sure? Because the last couple of times it was the middle of the day for them over there. So it's like, because I could see that if they had him over there, flew him in on like Friday, he does the event like Saturday, and sometimes Saudi it's been in the morning. So it's like it could be in the morning, early afternoon for them there, and then he's back in the country on Sunday.
It's 5:26 a.m. in Saudi Arabia right now. So for my time, they are 10 hours ahead.
Or 10 hours ahead. So that's not a long flight. So let me put it this way. What time is it supposed to be going on in the States? What time does the show go live on Saturday? That's the biggest question. Because if it's a big return, I could see them just shuffling him around on the planes. I don't think that's a stretch.
That sounds crazy.
But they've done it before. They've gone from Saudi Arabia back to the States in one night. They did it a couple weeks ago.
So Night of Champions is going to start at 10 a.m. my time.
Okay, so
which
that's
means
my time.
Yeah.
So that means that if it's a 10-hour difference, they might be doing it 10 hours after or 10 hours before?
So then that would be 8 p.m. for their time.
So 8 p.m. for them, their time. If Great American Bash doesn't go on till the evening on Sunday, he could fly back in 10 hours, no problem, and be there before call time for Sunday. It's very possible. So, I mean, 10 hours after 8, that's like what, 5 a.m. on Sunday? So, it's not impossible if the show's not going on till the afternoon or evening. Just saying. He let him catch a nap and then he pops up at the show. But I got a feeling there's more to this than just Sami wins. There's no DQ in a triple threat. And we haven't seen Randy, who has a problem with Cody. And the last time we saw Kevin, he was feuding with Cody. And they're both on SmackDown. That's all I'm saying.
As much as I would like to see Kevin return, I don't think I've heard anything about his injury update or anything like that. So, yeah. But honestly, I want two people to win this match. You could probably tell who I'm about to say. Cody or Sami. I don't want to see Gunther win. Mainly because Gunther's just being a little bitch about this entire situation. So, I mean, that's my personal reasoning. But Cody and Sami make the most sense in my head, mainly because if Jay wins King of the Ring, they both have history with him, and it would make for a good story. And for the love of God, I'm not trying to see Jay versus Gunther again. It was a good match at WrestleMania 41, despite what the IWC says, but I can't sit through another story with them. I just can't. But it's in Saudi, and that's Sami Zayn territory. So they could pull the trigger on him, but WrestleMania is in Saudi next year. So I don't really know where to go, what route to go down, but preferably I'd rather have Cody retain.
I'm with Blood on this one. I really am. I'm going Sami Zayn to become the new undisputed title holder, not just because of the fact that they are in Saudi Arabia, because as was just mentioned, WrestleMania next year will also be in Saudi Arabia, and that could be a massive moment for him. But I feel like with the knowledge that we have, that odds are he will 100% being heel either this Saturday or next week. There's no doubt about it. And I think one of the best ways to do it is what if he takes it off of Cody on Saturday and then fully turns heel on Cody directly after the match. I think that would be a massive moment with that.
I think I like where you're going there, Tommy, but imagine this instead, because this feels more like WWE's writing structure. He wins, has this amazing celebration in Saudi, gets the moment so they can replay it a million times on Monday and Friday and every time in between, and tout it out on their YouTube channel. And then at his celebration the following Friday on SmackDown, he turns on the fans and he turns on Cody. He's like, you guys have been booing me. How are you going to? I deserve it. What do you mean I deserve it, Chance? You're chanting, I deserve it. I know I deserve it. You were the ones telling me for the last 3 months that I didn't. Pretty perfect heel turn right there. But I'd also like to note, again, we have to think about this. Cody Rhodes backstage, despite what the IWC thinks, he's not a selfish person. We know last year, he was trying to get them to let him drop the title to Drew at the end of the summer. And he begged them, and both him and Drew went to the writers and producers and asked, can we drop the title to Drew? It's the right time. The fans want it. They were told no. So they waited until earlier this year again, and they went to a different set of producers and Triple H, and they said yes. And then we got to switch the title to Drew. Cody is smart enough to go with what he believes the business needs at that moment and what makes sense. He's a smart enough businessman to know that putting the title on Sami when he's at the height of where he is in between babyface and heel in Saudi Arabia is probably an extremely smart business move. Okay. Aside the fact if Sami wins that night, the merch that'll get sold in that building afterwards when people are on their way out to their cars. You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for a new champion merch. I can see Cody being smart enough to have talked them in the back and saying, hey, what if it was Sami's time? Plus, they're actually really good friends behind the scenes. I'm sure an unselfish Cody Rhodes, legit shoot, would love to see Sami get his moment in a country that celebrates him. Because the only two people who are going to get the loudest pops that night is Obafemi and Sami Zayn. Those will be the loudest pops in the building, I'm telling you.
Well, I hate to be that guy, but I disagree with all of y'all. I want to see this thing go one of two ways. Cody is going to win at Night of Champions because I feel like the bigger stage for Sami Zayn to win it would be at WrestleMania. But it's kind of weird because no matter what Sami does, heel or babyface, in Saudi Arabia, he's going to get cheered. I would like to see Sami and Cody feud because people love Cody and people want to boo Sami Zayn. So does Cody win at Night of Champions and we keep this feud going until the next WrestleMania? Maybe build up Sami more as a heel and have a big monster heel Sami Zayn versus Cody at Mania. But it's at Saudi Arabia. So I don't know if that would really work. But I still got Cody winning. Or my second option is this is something the WWE has done before, especially when it comes to triple threat matches. They sometimes go with the person you least expect to win it or the person nobody wants to see actually win it. And in this case, it's Gunther. I wouldn't be mad if Gunther wins it just to piss people off.
Look, I am a massive Gunther fan. I love him. Now, we all know Toxic doesn't, and that's fair. But I love me some Gunther. But I also think that Gunther has a proven track record since he lost the IC championship to Sami. He has a track record of he's better without the world title. He's better without it. With it, they book themselves into corners. They have to do bullshit stories. They always feed a bunch of undercarders to him and try to do this holding pattern with him for a month to 2 months. And then they have to have him face the same 2 people, 3 people back to back to back just to pad out the rain. He's a much better chaser, but he's so much more of a threat when he's chasing something versus when he has it. He goes down so easy when he's the champion. He's a fucking threat when he's not the champion. My problem is I don't want to see Sami feud with Cody for the next 9 months. I don't want to see that because here's the problem. We make Sami a monster heel. Great. He feuds with Cody. Then what? He goes into a bunch of regular feuds to cool him and Cody off. And then we pick it back up around Rumble season. So we've cooled that off. And then we're going to go back to it again. And the problem with WWE when they do that is people get bored and they go, we already saw this. I don't want to see it again. We saw this 6 months ago. Why are you running it back? No one's going to want to see them feud for that long. It's only worked a few times. Drew and Punk is one of the times it really worked. And you know why it really worked? Because Punk wasn't there for half of it. Okay, so you were excited when he popped up to be a part of it. But if we see Sami and Cody week in and week out for months with no break, it's going to get boring before War Games. My thing is, I really think that if they're going to do anything, it really needs to be he feuds with Cody a little bit. Cody gets distracted. Maybe Randy returns. We see Sami and Jay feud throughout the fall, and then we get to Rumble season, and then we go from there.
That's a good point. And then on the other hand, too, with my other prediction, if Gunther wins it, then we might see Sami Zayn and Gunther feud, but that kind of goes against what the WWE seems to be trying to do, which is turn Sammy heel. And when it comes down to it, I think the people hate Gunther more than Sammy. So I don't think that dynamic would work either. But I just feel like it's too soon for Sami Zayn to win it at this Night of Champions, but we'll see.
Here's my last point too, and I don't know if Toxic had something to say because he pointed himself, but give me once. But here's my thing: we also have to think of this a step forward. We have to realize that whoever wins here is going to SummerSlam most likely to face whoever wins between Jay and Oba. I don't think anybody. You have to think about box office appeal. If Jay wins, him and Cody. Good is a match people would be like, oh, I don't care to see it, but it's going to be one to see because there's story there. Him and Sammy, a lot of drama and history. They're like brothers. They don't want to see him and Gunther again. But if Oba wins, can you risk having Oba lose to Cody if he retains? Can you risk him losing to Gunther if Gunther wins? Can you risk him losing to Sammy, or he'd run through Sammy? But even then, like, what's going to make the best match at SummerSlam? Because I don't think anybody really believes Jay is going to go after Roman, because Roman's probably going after Seth. Reports are Seth is probably going to be the opponent for Roman at SummerSlam when he finishes with the steel cage match this weekend, because that was the original plan WWE wanted to do at Mania. And apparently the reports are stating that's what they're trying to push for SummerSlam for Roman. So in my head, Roman's spoken for. So whoever wins this King of the Ring tournament, they're undisputed championship bound. And now we've got to figure out, well, what's the best possible match for SummerSlam for that championship? And I don't think any version of Gunther in it is something anybody's going to want to see.
All right. Anything else when it comes to this one? This is barely the first match.
Hey,
nope.
but
right.
It's a lot of good stuff to talk about, because these are real things we gotta realize. I mean, we're right around the corner.
Oba Femi versus Jey Uso, King of the Ring finals, y'all. And I mean, we've been seeing it. Oba Femi has been running through everybody. Jey Uso, he is the main event. Jey, Yeet Man Jey, former world champion, former Intercontinental. He's won a lot of wars. Jey Uso has. If someone were to beat Oba Femi, I mean, so far in the main roster, the only person that's been able to do that is Brock Lesnar. Is Jey Uso capable of stopping this momentum, this huge momentum that Oba Femi has going for him right now?
Here's where the question comes in, right? Where we got to look at like continuity of WWE, and if you start getting into power scaling with like the superstars who they've beat, if we look at it this way, Jay has beaten Gunther. Okay, Gunther's a world champion like Jay. So if Jay can beat Gunther, and Gunther can beat John Cena, and Gunther can beat AJ Styles, and Gunther can beat Cody, and Gunther can beat Randy, you wonder, can Jay beat Oba? Because all of those guys stand the best chance to beat Oba in a one-on-one match. At that same token, you have to think, well, in NXT just a few months ago, Oba lost to someone in NXT. And that person he lost to is on the main roster right now. So, when I look at it, I mean, Javon Evans took him to his limit. If Javon could do it, why couldn't Jay? And Jay beat Javon. So when I look at that, I go, how much of a hill is it really for Jay to climb? Jay has also beaten Roman. He was the first person to pin Roman on the main roster during the Bloodline saga after a 4-year stint. He was the first person. Sammy had Roman beat until interference happened. So Sammy can beat Roman, but Jay can beat Sammy. So we have to look at it like, is it really so hard to believe that Jay could do this without interference? And my thing is, I think the way they're building Oba now, they're not going to let Jay do it without interference happening, which is where everybody's mind falls to Brock Lesnar interfering. The problem is, this is a one-on-one match, falls a single fall. There is disqualification. There is going to be countouts. So we've got to assume refs going down at some point. Okay? That's the only way Brock can interfere. and get after Oba. And the ref's going to have to go down in a major way because Brock's going to have to hit Oba with like 5 F5s to keep him down before Jay hits him with a spear and a splash. If that happens, I'm okay if Oba loses that way because it protects him. But not only does it protect him, if he's got to get taken down by 4 to 5 F5s, a spear, and a splash, not including whatever other moves Jay might nail him with in the match, talk about still having him lose, but in a way where he's still a monster. It took all of that for Jay to beat him. It still makes Oba look great. And then we're going to get the rubber match with Oba and Brock at SummerSlam, which I'm fine with. I know I don't want Jay to win clean. I love Jay, but I need them to protect Oba. I also love Oba, but I don't want him to squash Jay because I've seen Jay climb impossible fucking mountains and win. I'm going to go safe here where everybody else already is. Brock Lesnar interferes, costs Oba the match. Jay is your King of the Ring winner. Sometimes safe is not the worst option, especially if you're trying to protect a new star.
So I think it's obvious who I'm picking, but it's not for the reason you think. Yes, I'm picking him because he's my favorite, but for 2 reasons. He makes the most sense story-wise to win it in the bloodline story. Roman's at the head of the table, and he wants Jay to be at the other end of the table. So there can be both world champions in the bloodline. That's reason number 1. Number 2, that ref is going down, and I can see how it happens. You know when Oba does the running German uppercuts? Yeah, I could see Jay being in the corner. He pulls the ref over while Oba is doing that, and then the ref gets hit, and there's Brock.
It fits with how he's been wrestling like a heel a little bit too. You're right.
Yeah, but honestly, I just don't think it's right. It's the right time for Oba right now, even though he's the most over wrestler right now on Raw, but I just don't think it's the right time. I hope that it's an actual match and not just a squash match, because what does that do to Jay? I mean, he's beat the hell out of Gunther. He was actually the first ever person to beat Roman, not even before the bloodline stuff. It was like in a multi-man tag match when the Shield stuff was happening. So he's beat Roman, and I mean, he's like a 9-time, 8-time tag team champion, former Intercontinental. So if Oba squashes him, what does that do for Jay? So I'm also going safe, but I have good reasoning by it, and I'm going main event Jey Uso.
Yeah, this is one that we absolutely 100% all agree on. And I do still feel like Brock Lesnar is going to interfere here, simply because of the fact that if Brock Lesnar is not going to interfere, then why did you just have, for the past 3 weeks now, Obafemi calling out Brock Lesnar? Like, this entire time, he's been calling out Brock Lesnar. So if he's not going to interfere, why are you having Oba bring anything involving Brock up? Say his name 3 times and he appears. He's just like Beetlejuice. I'm going main event Jey Uso via Brock Lesnar.
There is a problem here too, by the way, that I just thought about. This is also them taking a big gamble. It's going to turn the audience against Jay hard in Saudi. Even if it's not his fault that Brock runs through Oba and the ref goes down and, he nails him with a bunch of F5s. First off, realistically, how do you blame Jay for capitalizing on it? I'm here to win, bro. I'm here to get a championship. It ain't my fault you got beef with that guy. I don't got beef with that guy. He beat your ass, but this is a match. I'm still trying to win. That's not a heel thing. That's just an intelligent competitor thing. But the problem is the audience is going to go, as soon as Jay gets that win and stands up there and gets the crown and everything else, they're going to boo the shit out of him. And I wonder if that's going to affect going forward the way that they have to book the bloodline, where they've been playing them on the you know, the balancing beam between babyface and heelish and their tweeners. And, you know, Jimmy's constantly trying to be the babyface. Jay's a babyface, but he's acting like a heel. Jacob is definitely a tweener. Roman's a tweener that's leaning heel on one week and then a face the next week. But if they start booing the shit out of Jay, does it affect how they treat the bloodline as a whole by proxy, that being the fans? So especially if they're doing this to Oba, you got to wonder how much backlash the Jay's going to get. Because if you've been looking at the news, the wrestling news, Jay has been getting record thumbs downs on winning the Rumble, when he beat Gunther, when he beat oh God, who the hell was it? He beat somebody in one of the finals last year. And he's been getting like 80, 100,000 thumbs down. And fans are online really turning on him. And I don't know how much that's going to affect the bloodline overall. And if WWE's going to have to pivot and just commit to them being heel, if that hatred that the fans have for him seeps onto the whole group.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I would love to see Obafemi win this thing and go after Roman Reigns, which would be a great match, right? If that happens, then we don't get Oba versus Lesnar at SummerSlam, which is another thing that I really want to see. So with that being said, I think it's safe to say Jey Uso is going to win here. And I'm excited to see how this goes, because after his match, after Jey Uso wrestled Javon Evans, Jey Uso was kind of healing a little bit. And versus Obafemi, Jey Uso, he's going to have to fight dirty. He's going to have to cheat. He's going to have to do his best to just survive and pull through, you know? And if Lesnar does show up, that is going to add more heat to it, because throughout the match, Jey Uso is going to have to do all those things. And then at the end, he's going to capitalize. He's going to have to, right? So, yeah. And yeah, you're right. You know, there's a lot of people that don't like Jey Uso, but I mean, the WWE does not really seem to care about the online discourse as much as they do as like the merch sales and like the crowd reactions and the people in the arenas that are yeeting. So yeah, he's getting a whole bunch of dislikes. Maybe no one really wants to see him become king of the ring from the IWC, right? But there's a lot of people that still believe in Jey Uso and actually want to see him win.
There's actually one other thing we haven't even thought about here, guys. Bloodline interference. And not just bloodline interference, MFT interference. Solo just spiked Jimmy on Monday and cost him the match. Who's to say if Jay starts looking like he might just win, out comes Solo, out comes Tala Tonga, and then they screw Jay over, because there is a third option here that people have been talking about. Not just Jay winning going on, and not just Oba going on, but Brock maybe doesn't appear at all, or he does, and Oba conquers him anyway and still wins. And then night one, he fights Brock Lesnar and retires him on SummerSlam. And night two, he faces Roman or the Undisputed Champion for their title. That is the third option a lot of people have been floating. He does back-to-back nights, and they strap the fucking rocket to him at SummerSlam.
So here's this is a spoiler alert on why I don't think the MFTs are going to get involved, because they taped SmackDown tonight. Actually, it's not going to air until Friday, but Tama Tonga and Tala Tonga pretty much already broke up with Solo Sikoa on Friday Night SmackDown. They told them, we don't want anything to do with you. You know, you got too much going on with the bloodline. We want nothing to do with it.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. Well, that's, I mean, I guess Solo could still do it on his own. That explains why Tala wasn't with him on Monday, but kind of went out with a whimper there, didn't it? Huh? No breakup feud with Tama and Solo. What happened to that? That was being teased for weeks. And I guess it's possible that they're trying to make a super bloodline. It is very possible that Solo goes back hat in hand to Roman then.
I think the straw that broke the camel's back was what Solo did on Monday Night Raw. But even last week on Friday Night SmackDown, Solo Sikoa pretty much cost the MFTs the tag team championships.
That's
So
true.
it's been a few weeks of them just not fucking with Solo, which seems to be like this pattern that WWE's doing. The same thing happened on NXT with the calling. And I feel like I've been seeing a lot of this lately, you know?
It's probably
But
very
yeah.
possible then that they're going to run Tama and Tala as their own tag team. And I think it's very possible we're going to see Solo move over to Raw and probably rejoin the group. And we're going to get this super bloodline story. I think that's very possible. Why else would you take them away from him and then have Jacob come to him the week before and go, hey, we want you to come home? Well, now he's got no group of his own. He's got no one to back him up. He might have to go back hat in hand to Roman and rejoin the group.
Well, that's a conversation for another day. Let's go to the steel cage match. Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker, former tag team champion. He lost the championship on Monday Night Raw thanks to Seth Rollins, which kind of adds more fuel to this cage match. This has been a long feud. This is really personal. There's a lot of history here. And yeah, Seth Rollins made the claim that this match right here is what's going to prove to not just himself, but to everyone who he really is. And Seth Rollins wants to defeat Braun Breaker to put the vision and Braun Breaker behind him so he can finally go on and get the World Heavyweight Championship that he never lost.
First and foremost, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say, thank God they took those tag titles off Braun. I know they had no choice to put it on him because Logan unfortunately was injured and they wanted to do the Freebirds rule. And so, you know, that automatically made Braun a champion by proxy. So it's good. You pat him out, right? He's been an Intercontinental champion on the main roster, and now he's been a World Tag Champion on the main roster. I think that's good. My problem is tag team gold screams mid-card, and you're trying to turn this guy into a main eventer. That's been the whole project with him for a year. So taking it off of him is good. Here's one thing I would like to say. As much as I have said for weeks now, I've been bored of this feud, and it's nobody's fault. Injuries happen. The momentum got halted several times. I just got bored of them having to restart the momentum. I have no problem with anybody in this story. I think they've done the best they could possibly freaking do. And I think they have still made chicken salad out of chicken shit with all the injuries that have occurred. That being said, I'm done seeing it. I really need this to be the end. And I don't want Seth to win. I want Seth to put Braun over because Braun spearing that title a couple weeks ago, knocking himself out, kind of made him look stupid. A lot of fans thought he looked dumb as fuck online. I need him to not only get his credibility back, I need him to have a massive win over a former world champion so the vision is still strong. We need more top guys that are young talent now that'll be top future guys. You got Oba that's looking like it. Trick Williams up there. You got Braun up there. Javon's going to be a very important upper mid-carder. You've got all these guys that scream the next upper echelon of the future generation. But you got to keep them strong now. And I genuinely believe Braun needs this win badly. And I also want him to win, my opinion, I want him to win without vision interference. I want him to do it on his own to prove he beat Seth himself. That speaks more volume to me. And then Seth can go on and set up his shit with Roman without Braun. But I think Braun has to win here. I think his character deserves the win. I think he needs the win. And I think he's earned the right to be able to go, hey, I've put Seth over already a couple times. I think Braun deserves and needs to win this feud. He needs it.
Honestly, I can't choose who wins. I can't decide who wins here. I mean, both outcomes make sense to me. Rollins beating Breaker finally ends Seth's thing with the vision, but Braun Breaker beating Seth, this continues because he obviously gets, or I think he gets Austin Theory's help, and I don't think he needs Logan's because, I mean, Logan, he's got one arm. What do you want him to lose the other? So, but I do hope that Bronson Reed comes back. I'm really hoping for Bronson Reed to come back. But I want to go with my gut, and my gut says Seth Rollins because we still have to look forward to Roman versus Seth, and which has been teased once. But I feel we get Roman versus Seth, no matter who wins. But I'm just going with what I think, what my gut thinks, and it's Seth Rollins.
I think the right choice here is for Braun Breaker to win and finally put Seth on the back burner, get him away from the vision completely. But I don't think he wins on his own. Toxic, you took the words right out of my mouth, my boy. I think Bronson Reed comes back on Saturday. I think Big Bronson Reed comes back with all of the updates that he's constantly putting out. Man is in the prime look for him. He is completely different than the way he used to look. I think it's time, with Logan being injured, for them to become a three-man group again, with Big Bronson Reed returning and helping out Braun Breaker in this.
My thing here is Braun even ready, or Bronson even ready to return? Because first off, I don't even remember what month he got injured. Was it before the Chamber? Because he was supposed to be out 6 months with a bicep tear. So my thing is, has it even been 6 months? I think it's close. And what he's been posting, he might have healed up a month early. And as much as I'd love to see him, and believe me, I'd love to see Bronson. The Instagram I've been following, like, bro, y'all are in trouble when this man shows back up. He was a threat before. Now he's shredded as fuck. Okay, God save you. But my thing here is, the only issue I have is that I want Braun Breaker to win. Correct. Seth goes on, if they follow the plans that the reports are going, that they've been wanting, for Seth to face Roman at SummerSlam. But here's the issue. This is probably going to be the last time Seth and Roman face. And my thing is, Roman is probably going to win, because it needs to tell the story that Roman can finally beat Seth Rollins when it matters. He's never beaten him one-on-one. The last time they faced one-on-one was at the Rumble several years ago, and Roman got himself DQ, but he's never beaten Seth one-on-one. That would mean that if this is the end-all be-all and Roman's rebuilding this powerhouse bloodline, Roman's probably going to win, which means, does that hurt Seth to lose to Braun Breaker and then go on to lose against Roman on top of that back-to-back feuds? So that's the only issue I have with Braun winning, is how much credibility does it take away from Seth?
Not only that, but Seth Rollins literally said, I need to win this match so I can go on and get my championship that I never lost. If Braun Breaker wins, does that set up Braun Breaker for a potential title match in the future? And
exactly. It's a good question.
So, I mean, as much as I would love to see Braun Breaker win, because I agree, he needs this win. It feels like the other matches that they've had, I believe this is the third one. Did Seth Rollins win the first two? I want to say he did.
It went Braun and then Seth. Braun won at Backlash. Seth won at the Raw after Clash in Italy, I want to say.
Yeah, where Braun knocked himself out and got speared, and the Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins came in, caused the distraction, and all that other stuff happened, and then he got stomped and then lost.
So they're 1-1 then, right?
This is the rubber match. Yeah, this is the rubber match.
But it just feels like Seth Rollins just looked way better so far in this feud. So for that reason, I do want to see Braun Breaker win it. But I also kind of want to see Seth Rollins go after that championship belt again. So I'm like, fuck, I don't really know, you know? But I'm going to go with Braun Breaker. Fuck
My
it.
thing is, I do want to see Seth versus Roman badly. Like, I was screaming into the void that I wanted to see it at Mania to finally end this massive story that spanned 14 years with these two. have their final match on the biggest stage of them all. I mean, you could argue Braun wins here. He goes on to face Roman at SummerSlam. And then we could argue that, okay, well then Seth gets involved with Roman at Mania, and then we can do it again next year. That's an option too. My thing is, but then what the fuck do you do with Seth between now and then? I mean, because the last thing I want to come out of this is Bronson Reed interferes, costs Seth the match, and then Seth is still in this feud, only now Bronson is back. So now there's another wrinkle, and now he's feuding with Bronson. And I'm just like, can we get him away from the Vision? Because I don't want to see this another 2 months. I don't know about y'all, but, you know, it just makes me wonder, you know, you can't just have Seth lose, right? And then go, well, I lost, but I'm calling myself the number one contender for Roman. That doesn't make sense. One would argue, well, if Braun beat him, Braun should go on to be the number one contender. It makes me wonder, can we say WWE might be booking themselves into a corner?
Either way, I really like the idea of Bronson Reed making his return on this match of Night of Champions. But you know what? If that's the case, if Bronson Reed returns and he costs Seth Rollins the match, then doesn't that mean Seth Rollins versus the Vision continues? Because Seth Rollins is going to have to get revenge on Bronson Reed.
That's what I just said. I don't want to see it for another 2 months. Because 2 months, we're going towards WrestlePalooza. Hell no. I don't need to see this into September, bro. I'm done with it.
All right. My bad. I just repeated what you said. My bad.
But it's fair. It's fair. It's fair. I can't. What am I going to get mad at you for repeating me when they've been repeating this shit for 6 months? No.
Speaking of repeating, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill, Women's United States Championship. Again, these two have wrestled for the main women's championship at WrestleMania. They've been going at it for months and months and months. They're going to do it again at Night of Champions. Are we going to see Jade Cargill as the new Women's United States Championship? I think it's very possible. I'm just going to throw my prediction out there and say that Jade Cargill is going to be the new Women's United States Champion.
Y'all remember Jordan Grace, right? She was supposed to be the next big thing in the SmackDown women's division, and where's she been? You know, my
main event.
Main event. That kind of pisses me off, because instead of giving us something new and fresh and building another star in the women's division, they went, let's run back 6 months of last year, where we saw Jade and Tiffany about 3 fucking times, and the first 2 times were horrendous, and the last time was like, oh, it's a squash match, and she beat the brakes off Tiffany. So if she could do that to Tiffany in their last match, why wouldn't I think she couldn't do it this time around? Tiffany has cooled off. I mean, cooled off like a campfire on the beach when the tide rolls in. She has cooled the fuck off. Tiffany has really become a catchphrase. There is no character to her whatsoever. I genuinely speaking, there's no character to her whatsoever. And I would argue there's no character to fucking Jade either. And genuinely speaking, the main reason I'm going to say that Jade wins this here is because you need to justify, and I'll say this again, like I did when Jade lost the championship, you need to justify her having a stable that's willing to follow her. Why would B-Fab and Michin back her if she's a loser? If she loses her title 3 weeks after they join her, if she loses other matches, if she comes in here and then she challenges Tiffany, someone she decimated the last time they faced, and then she loses here. At a certain point, is B-Fab and Michin got to start wondering, why are we answering to you? You can't even get the job done. Because that's when I start looking at like how the MFT treat Solo. Why are we following you? You can't buy a win. So, you know, I think Jade has to win here. And genuinely speaking, I don't give a fuck which of them wins. I don't care. They've given me no reason to care about the Women's United States Championship. If it ain't Chelsea Green or Jordan Grace, I don't give a fuck. But I'm going to say Jade Cargill because Tiffany is vanilla.
I also saw that Blake Monroe just debuted on SmackDown as well. Sorry, spoiler. Speaking about making new stars, but yeah, go ahead, Talks.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about this. I'm picking Tiffany just so I can get this done and over with. And also, not that I didn't like Tiffany before. I thought she was okay, but her ring work is starting to grow on me. I'm starting to like more of her stuff in ring a lot more. So I hope she retains, mainly because I like her more than Jade. But there's also the thought of Chelsea Green. She's been trying to pair up with Tiffany Stratton, and Tiffany's not having it. So, I mean, what if we see Chelsea interfere and cost Jade the match?
Yeah, I couldn't give two shits about this match. I really couldn't. Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill again? When this match was first announced and when I saw that Jade Cargill challenged Tiffany Stratton, my response is, why the fuck are you giving us this again? It was horrendous the last 3 times he gave us this. Why are you giving us a round 4? I hate the fact that this match is happening to begin with. But, yes, 3, I believe. It's been 3. So why the hell are you giving this a 4th time? So, I'm going Jade Cargill on this simply because of the fact that if Chelsea Green decides to give in, that still makes it 3-2. They're still outnumbered because Jade Cargill still has BFAB and Michin on her side there. Plus, not gonna lie, I would not mind seeing Jordan Grace beat the shit out of Jade Cargill and become United States champion. Just gonna put that out there.
All right. From one United States champion to another. We just did NXT predictions not that long ago as well. So in my mind, and we're also talking about 2 former NXT stars, Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. They're going to be going at it for the United States Championship. As much as I love Ricky Saints, he just got to the main roster not that long ago. He earned this title shot. A lot of people believe that it should have been Carmelo. Carmelo Hayes deserves it. But it's not. It's Ricky Saints. The game is not about who deserves it. It's about who gets it. Ricky Saints got it. But I don't think he's going to get the United States Championship. I think it's too soon for him. There's still a lot of things that they can do with Trick Williams with that championship. So I'm going to go with Trick Willie to retain.
This is a match that I am annoyed that's happening only because I feel like it should have been a triple threat. This is now the second time Carmelo has gotten snubbed out of a match for this championship. That should have been a triple threat. When they had it as Sammy versus Trick, it should have been Sammy, Trick, and Carmelo. And then they just randomly wrote Carmelo out of the story for like a month and then brought him back. And then now here we go where I love Ricky. He's great. I think he's got the potential to be a generational heel. His character work is great. I love how he moves in the ring. I love his snappiness, but also him and Carmelo have been putting on extremely entertaining matches. But I feel like Ricky just got up to the roster like a month and a half ago. Why on earth did we put him in a position that Carmelo could have still been in with him? And I also think for Night of Champions, this is the perfect match to have made a triple threat. So the 3 of these guys working together, they all have individual chemistry with the other when they're in one-on-ones. If this was a 3-man, I think this would be insanely fucking entertaining and possibly could be match of the weekend and steal the show as far as in-ring work is concerned. Pardon me. That being said, I definitely think that Trick Williams retains, but not because Ricky's not ready for it, because you could argue the same about Trick. Trick's only been on the roster for like 4.5, 5 months. I think it's because Carmelo's going to interfere or cause distraction because he's the one who got screwed out of this opportunity when Ricky cheated. So I definitely think that we could definitely see Carmelo Hayes pop up, cause a distraction, and that gives the opening to Trick.
It's obvious Ricky ain't winning this. Like I said, I see Carmelo getting a shot at it, which it's Ricky first, but Carmelo getting a shot after Ricky, but Carmelo interfering this time, and then Ricky repaying the favor. But the only reason I have to believe Ricky has a chance is because he did something in NXT that Trick Williams didn't. He beat Oba Femi. So that's the only chance I have for Ricky. That's the only way I could see him winning is if he pulls the same shit that he did when he was facing Oba. But I'm going Trick with this match.
I will gladly reiterate what I said when we went through Carmelo Hayes versus Ricky Saints. I am super, super glad and super, super fucking happy that this man is competing for the United States title. I really am, especially with an NXT run back like this. But he's not winning the United States fucking title. He's just not. So I am going with good old Trick Williams, Mr. Lemon Pepper Steppers, to retain the United States title.
All right, and the last match that we have to go over is a really interesting match because it's the Queen of the Ring finals, Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is the current World Heavyweight Champion, and the winner of this match gets a title shot, which means if Liv Morgan wins, she has to go after Rhea Ripley. And if Io Sky wins, she could go after Rhea or Liv Morgan. As much as I would like to see Liv Morgan as double champion just to piss people off, I think the better story here would be Io Sky and Rhea Ripley because of their history, because of their little friendship, a little over. I'm pretty sure it was a little bit more than a friendship if you ask me, but hey, that's just me. Yeah, if Io Sky wins this thing, we get Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley, and then they can keep telling that story that, hey, Rhea Ripley has never been able to beat Io Sky, right? So I think that's what the WWE is going to go for here. I think the fans will eat up that match. They both love Io and Rhea. So I think I'm going to go with Io Sky.
My thing here is, as interesting as it would be to see Liv as a double champ or potential double champion, I can't shake this feeling that there's going to come a point in this match where it looks like Liv is going to lose. Down comes Roxanne and Raquel, and maybe they try to help her win, but they unintentionally cost her the match, because we saw on Monday, Liv was so focused on herself. She didn't care that JD was hurt. She basically forgot Roxanne existed when she was telling everybody all the titles they're going to win, and she left her off the list. And then she basically kind of like verbally demoted Raquel to the mid-card championship, going, oh, well, I'll be a double champion. And well, what about me? She goes, well, you're going to go after the women's intercontinental champion. And you saw Raquel's face like, oh, okay. Oh, I'm mid-card level to you. You can be world champion, but I can't. So I think either they cost her the match unintentionally or they cause her the match intentionally. And then we finally see the aftermath of that where they turn on her. But also, I didn't want Liv in the finals if we weren't going to see Raquel in the finals. I thought that was the much more interesting match. I think we all did. But on top of that, I genuinely feel like if we were going to be here with Io in the finals, I said it like 3 weeks ago, I wanted to see Charlotte here. Charlotte versus Io is a money match on paper. It's a money match. And with the potential of either of them winning, we get the rematch of Rhea and Charlotte from a couple of years ago, which was one of the best matches I've ever seen at a Mania for a women's match. But then again, the story with Io and Rhea never being able to beat Rhea, or Rhea never being able to beat Io, is a very tantalizing match to think about for SummerSlam. My only problem is, though I want Io to win, and she is my prediction, if Io does win and goes on to face Rhea, if Rhea does finally beat Io, are we pulling the rug out from under Io's momentum? Because she lost a lot this year. She lost to Kairi Sane. She's lost to Asuka. She's lost a couple of opportunities. And then now I feel like she's semi-floundering, even though she's winning. There's not a real story with her. So if she goes on to SummerSlam to face Rhea and Rhea beats her, are we finally losing interest in Io? Is the back losing interest in Io, even though Triple H is a massive fan of hers? It makes me worry about the trajectory of her coming out of SummerSlam if she loses. But for the time being, for this match, I will say, I think it's got to be Io so we can finally get that story properly finished and not separated due to injury like it happened earlier this year when they also let Kairi go. They separated them because they had to. Team Rio, that is.
It's obvious for me. I'm going Io, mainly because 1, Liv is champion. 2, Liv shouldn't have been in the tournament in the first place. 3, she ripped the spot away from Charlotte, which would have been such an amazing match, but nope, we're here. It won't hurt her to not be in this match, but Io and, like I said, Io and Charlotte sounds like an amazing match. Plus, Liv is just getting annoying. So, I mean, then there's the thought of Raquel and Roxanne. I think they finally have enough of her, and they just full on turn face. They betray Liv Morgan, and that gives us Liv versus Raquel for the Women's World Championship at SummerSlam, and leaving Io and Rhea to go at it again, which I'm all for that because, I mean, they always have good matches. I don't think I've ever seen a bad match with them in it. But yeah, I'm just tired of Liv.
I'm going with Io Sky, and here is my reasoning why. Not only would it tie up that thread that they've been continuing for a hot minute now, that being that Rhea can never beat Io, but I'm going to remind you of one thing that neither of you have brought up. The first ever Raw on Netflix. Boys, what happened with that?
I'm blanking. That was a show a year and a half ago.
Io took the title off of Rhea.
Oh, that was the
world
night
title.
when they randomly switched it? Okay.
Yes,
Is that when Bianca caused the distraction?
I believe so.
I thought that was like somewhere in the middle of the road of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I thought that was around like chamber time, but
I don't know.
But either way, continue.
But with that there, it would be a run back with the opposite title for it to finally end there. So I think that that's what we're getting is Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the women's title, a run back from the world title.
Yeah, it's very possible. Well, yeah, we pretty much broke down this whole entire event, and we'll see how many of those things we get right. So yeah, I'm really pumped for it. We'll see how that thing goes. And yeah, I think we covered it all. So I think it's time. We're going to call it. I think that's enough for tonight. I think we can get up out of here now.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Snug Wrestling. That was the predictions episode for 2026's Night of Champions, which is going live this weekend on Saturday in Saudi Arabia. Thank you all for tuning in with us. We appreciate every single one of you for supporting the show as always. Of course, you can always catch us live on Monday After Raw every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 o'clock Pacific. That'll be for our NXT post-show reviews. Every Thursday on TikTok Live at the exact same time, where we discuss random and relevant wrestling topics and answer your fan questions live. And every Sunday at all those exact same times, where we have moved the SmackDown post-show reviews. But of course, this Sunday, the SmackDown post-show review will be replaced with the Night of Champions post-show review. Also, mark your calendars. This upcoming Tuesday on the 30th, we have a special guest interview with independent professional wrestling star and reigning Pro Wrestling Mid-South Junior Heavyweight Champion, Dwayne Cashman. We have interviewed him before, but we are interviewing him now, and he has come a lot further in his career. He's currently a double champion on the Indies, and that'll be this upcoming Tuesday on the 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. PST, 7 o'clock Central. And of course, follow Snug Wrestling on all social media on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We go live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook as well for all of our live shows. But you can catch up on the library on our Apple and Spotify. We've got a few hundred episodes for you to sink your teeth into. Then support the podcast over at teepublic.com. That is teepublic.com/Snug Wrestling. And until next time, stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. And boys, I said that was one time for the one time. That was
Four
letters.
One
One
word.
word.
Yeet.